Today we're going to be looking at how we can make both bar charts and column charts within Microsoft Excel. A bar chart is going to display your data horizontally, while a column chart is going to display your data vertically. Along with these, we're also going to look at how you can make multi-column charts and also how you can make stack charts within Excel. So let's check out how to do this then. I'm now in Microsoft Excel. I've got the data for a cookie company within a table. While I have the ability to try and understand this data just as it is now, I want to try to make this more visual to make it easier to understand. To insert a chart, click anywhere within your data. You can highlight all of it by pressing Ctrl and A, or you can just click within a single cell. Look up at the top tabs now and you will see a tab called Insert. Click into that and then we're going to go to the center of this and you're now going to see a part or a section called charts. For this type of data, I think that a column chart is going to work best. And right here, I can see the column chart option. On the top, I've got my column charts, which show all the vertical bars. And here, I've got a few different variations of them. On the next row below, we can see that we have the 3D options. And then down here, we've got some bar chart options. And below that, we also have the 3D options for them. For this part of the data, I think that the vertical bars are going to work well. So we're just going to click on and choose this one here. And just like that, we now have a column chart inserted within our worksheet. And we can see that this helps me understand the data really easily by looking at the data in a visual way. For example, I can see that the chocolate chip is by far our best cookie. Now, you might be wondering, what if another type of chart works better? And I just want to have a quick look at that one. For example, what about a bar chart? To switch the type of chart, make sure that the chart you've just inserted is selected. On the top tabs, you'll now notice that you have two new tabs. One called Chart Design and the other called Format. We want to make sure that we're in Chart Design. And on the right hand side, we have the option to change the chart type. We're going to click into that one. This opens a box where we can see all the different chart types within Microsoft Excel. Currently, we have it set to the column chart. And here we can see that we have different variations of that chart. You can also switch it to maybe something if you wanted to do a pie chart or if you wanted to insert a bar chart. Right here is the options for the bar chart. Let's select this option, and what we can also do is if I hover over it, we can see that we get a larger preview, and in the right hand corner we have the option to click OK. We've now inserted a bar chart, and instead of showing the data bars vertically, we can now see that this is showing them horizontally. For me personally, whenever I can, I try to use the column charts so that the data is visualized vertically. But there is some cases where a bar chart is going to work better for you. And if you're wondering when that is, we're just going to click down here into the worksheet called bar chart to see what we can do here. And on the worksheet, we have similar data, except the list of cookies is a lot longer in this one, so we can see we have more data. And if we scroll down, we can see that we have all the different types of cookie. If we scroll down a little bit further, we can see that I've inserted a column chart, and here we're showing all the sales associated with the cookie names. And if we look at the cookie names, we can see that it's a little bit hard to see in this vertical form. Instead, when we have a bar chart, we can see that underneath here, it's a lot easier to understand and the cookie names that we have with them particular sales. So if you have a long list of labels and different categories, for example, a bar chart will tend to work better. Otherwise, a column chart is generally what I go for. Let's jump back into the first worksheet. So we're back on the first sheet now, and I want to show you the fastest way to insert a column chart. Let's select the chart that we inserted, and with this entire object selected, hit the delete key to remove that chart. Place your selection back into the table again, and we can either click on a single cell or we have the option of selecting the whole table. From here, we're going to use the shortcut keys Alt and F1. And just like that, it's going to insert a column chart for us. It really couldn't get any easier than this to just quickly insert and visualize your data. Looking at this chart, it's not entirely clear what this number signifies. Ideally, I'm going to start to include some more data on the axes, so include the title, and we can see that this is going to make it clearer to what actually is within our table. So with your chart selected, go up to the top part and see Chart Design tab. On the left hand side, we have a few options where we can add different elements. Click onto this, and here you can add all sorts of different elements to your chart, or we have the option to remove elements also. there's a category called Axis Titles, and if you hover over it, we can see what this does. Whenever I hover over primary horizontal, you see it adds a horizontal label, and also when we had a primary vertical, it adds an axis title in there too. I'll select this and I'm just going to double click into it so that we can enter some text. And we're just going to enter the text number of cookies sold. Instead of going up to the top ribbon, we can also just go directly into the chart as well. And on the right hand side, we're going to get this plus icon. When we click into this, we can see that we get the add and remove the different chart elements. We have multiple ways to do the same exact thing, but instead of adding the different elements on your own, in the chart design tab on the left hand side of the ribbon, you can also explore what's called quick layouts. When we click into this, it's going to quickly change the design and it's going to add all the different elements in. You can go through and look at some of the different options that you might be available to you, and chances are you've found one of these layouts that match exactly what you're looking for. But for now, we're just going to leave our chart as it is. To the right, we're going to have different options like changing the color of the chart here, and we can also hover over and preview what that's going to look like for us if we were to select it. We also have different styles, and examples of this one might be one that has a different gradient or a different background, or even particularly some shadows behind the bars. I think that this one looks great as it is though, and we're just going to leave it as it is. We are just going to update the title for this one, and this is a really easy trick to do. So if we were looking to update the title of the chart that we want to have of a particular cell, then we can do this. Of course, you have the option to click into the cell and copy the text and then paste it over, but there is an easier way, especially to make this dynamic if you're changing the text within the cell. Make sure that you've got the title selected within your chart. Once we've done that, we're then going to go up to the formula bar and we're going to press the equals sign. And from here, it's really simple and we're just going to select the cell that we want to reference. And now we can see that this is going to now change to whatever's in that cell. We're now going to jump into the worksheet titled multiple columns. On this next worksheet, we've got the same type of data as the previous sheet, but now what we can see is that we have additional years worth of data. Ideally at this point, we're going to show a column chart and we're going to have the 2 years worth of data that we can see here. To insert a column chart, once again, we're going to select within the table and we're going to use the shortcut key. Simply place your selection anywhere within the data and press the shortcut key Alt and F1 on the keyboard. We can now see that we've inserted our multiple column chart for our data. For chocolate chip, we have the ability to see all the different sales that we have within both 2005 and also the sales within 2006. And we can see the sales numbers, and it looks like we've had quite an increase for the chocolate chip cookies. So we can see, looking at the bottom of the table here, that the table is currently grouping all of the data by cookie type. So here we can see that we've got a chocolate chip with both the 2005 and 2006. And then it continues to move across all the different types. But if we want to change this and group this by year instead, then we can easily do this. With the chart selected, go to the top tabs and click on Chart Design. In the data category, you have the option to switch the rows and the columns that we can see here. We're now going to click on this, and if we look down, we can see that this has now categorized it by year rather than cookies. And we have all the different cookies in 2025 and all the different cookies in 2026. We can see that also the names of the cookies now has moved over and gone into the legend. And what we can do is click back on this button and just toggle it back and forth to see and change our views however we want. I'm now going to make a few additional changes to this chart. For example, we're going to look at chocolate chip, and it's by far our best seller, but we're going to have this change the color and we're going to put it into a chocolate brown color. To format or change the color, we're going to select this data bar, and when we click into this, it selects all of our different data bars. One thing to be aware of, if you click on it again, it's just going to deselect all the others and select that specific one. But for us, we want to change all of them so that we just have the chocolate chip cookie selected. On the top tab, we're going to go to Format, and here we can adjust the shape fill. And we have all the different options that we would do normally to change the color of something within Excel. We also have the ability to right click onto it and then we can go to the side here and we can go to adjust fill. There's a few different ways to get to the same option, but whichever one you prefer, then this is just a few options for you. We also have the ability to adjust the width and the thickness of the bars that we see here. To access all the different formatting functionality, double click on the bar, and this is going to open this pane at the side here on the right hand side. And within this pane we have the ability to format the data. We can adjust things like the fill, the borders, the shadow, or if we wanted to add a glow to these different ones, then we can. We can also go to the save as options. Within here we have the option to adjust the overlap, and then we can move this down and we can see the spacing of the different bars will both increase or decrease depending on how we move this particular bar. Once you've got the chart to look exactly how you want, then we can just close out of this pane using the X up at the top here. Looking at the chart, we can see quickly that 2026 appears to be larger than 2025, but it's hard to know to what extent. A stacked column chart can help us visualize this a lot easier. With the chart selected, we're now going to click on the tab titled Chart Design. We're going to click onto the chart type, and this is going to open up a dialog with all the different chart options for us. We're going to click on the column at the top, and then the second option is the stacked column. We can now select this and click OK. We can now see that we have 2025 and the 2026 data stacked, and we can tell exactly how much bigger 2026 was compared to the 2025. Along with that, it also gives us a sense of what the different cookie types contributed to that total number of cookies sold for that respective year. So this is another valuable chart that you can use to visualize your data. I hope that these different chart types have been able to help you to visually represent your data. If you would, please consider subscribing. I've also got a free course on Udemy if you'd like to follow the link down in the description below. And I also look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon.